You're listening to the SEO Mindset podcast. Now, we are not your typical how to do SEO podcast. No, we are not. With the help of our guests, we cover those all-important topics around career development, personal growth, and mental health for those working in the SEO industry. You got to be working on your own internal algorithm. Like what we did there. So if you like the sound of our podcast and you think this is a bit of me, shall we crack on with this week's episode?
Hello, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the SEO Mindset podcast, where your hosts are myself, Tazmin Suleman, your very own confidence coach, and my dear friend, podcast coach, Sarah McDowell. We have new episodes going out every Thursday, and in today's episode, Sarah and I are talking about social self-care and how to practice it. Now, we all know it's important to take care of our physical and mental health, but what about social health? Research shows how feeling a sense of belonging and connection has benefits to your overall health, and how it may be the missing key to living a longer and happier life. Sarah and I talk about social health, what it is, and how to practice social self-care. So, before we dive into the topic, I'd just like to remind you about the ways that you can support Sarah and myself and the podcast and all that we're doing. So one way is to click the Buy Me a Coffee link and give us a donation. Now, these donations go towards the running of the podcast, the tech that we have to buy. So you'd really be contributing to the longevity of this podcast. You can also follow us on socials, so it's on Instagram and LinkedIn predominantly. And wherever you're listening to this podcast, please leave us a review. It really is lovely to hear what you think of it, and it also helps us a huge amount. So without further ado, let's get into the topic and listen to what Sarah and I have to say and think about social self-care and how to practice it. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Tazmin.
How are you?
I am good, and I just want to say, we do share clips from recordings, but I just want to share with the audience. I want to paint a picture for our listeners that you're in a wonderfully colourful top, and I think the top is cracking. And I'm in wonderfully colourful patterned trousers. So, yeah, just want to create that visual for our listeners.
So I am wearing red, which used to be my favourite colour. It probably still is my favourite colour, but I don't have that much of it. So I thought I'm going to buy some intentional pieces. And this is one of them. It's actually a dress, but obviously you can't see that right now. But yeah. Red dress, and Sarah's got very, very jazzy red pattern trousers. So if we were together, we would be perfectly coordinated.
We would be perfectly coordinated. So these are my go-to trousers to wear in the summer because they're colourful and jazzy, and I love a bit of jazziness. But they're the most comfiest trousers because of the material, but it's got an elasticated waist as well. So, oh my days, like they're the most comfiest thing to sit in. Eat what you want, expand all you like, and there is no pain.
Well, I'm glad you're comfortable because we've got potentially a slightly heavy conversation to have today.
Oh, nice segue. You can tell we've been doing this for a while. 10 out of 10 there. But yes, so what are we talking about today?
Well, the topic is social self-care, and it started off with a conversation you and I had a few weeks ago where you were saying you'd been talking to a few people in the industry and they were feeling lonely. And at the time, I think we were talking about potential topics for the live podcast, and I said, talk about that, Sarah, because I don't know if I've ever felt lonely. And when I reflected on that, I was thinking that's not strictly true. But I think
Mm.
as I was more curious and did some research, I think I'm in a fortunate position, and we'll talk about what contributes to good social care. But it's something that when we talk about self care, we talk about physical self care and emotional self care. But that's not enough. You can be physically fit and thinking straight, but that doesn't mean that you don't want people around you. We are social beings, and there are so many things that have contributed to society as it is now. And I'll say largely the West, because when I think back to what it was like in Tanzania, a lot of that is still in place. So what are your thoughts on the topic, Sarah?
I think this is a really important topic because I think loneliness touches everyone. And even those who think, no, I'm not lonely, I'm surrounded by loads of people, I would just want to invite them just to have a little think, like you, because I remember when we're having that conversation about potential topics for the podcast, and I sort of talked about loneliness because maybe it's an interesting one, especially in SEO, because a lot of the times in companies, you might be the only person doing SEO, or perhaps you're part of an SEO team, but you might feel a bit lonely because, I don't know, you're a little bit different to everyone else. So I think, and there's other things at play as well, but I think everyone at some point has felt lonely, or they're going through being lonely, and we just need to talk about it and address it, because you're not alone. I mean, that's quite funny to say, isn't it? You're not alone, but yeah, you're not alone in feeling lonely. It's a common thing, and you've said it at the start. We are social beings as humans.
Absolutely. And I
So
know that, we'd said that as these episodes are going out in the summer, we didn't want to talk about anything a lot of work related stuff, but incorporate some well-being topics. And at the time I thought, oh yeah, well-being, we'll talk about this and it'll be fun and laughter and dandy. But when we think about well-being, so physical well-being, people know, oh, I should be moving, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I should be looking after your nutrition. You're very clued on about what it takes to be physically fit. Whether you do it or not is another matter, but you know that you're meant to do it. Again, with the emotional things like, meditating or journaling, or all of, walking outside in nature. Again, you know what you need to do. But I would imagine social self care is something that maybe we're not as intentional about. And then when that feeling of loneliness creeps up, you think, oh, hey up, where did that come from? But because we've not put the things in place. And when we talk about social self care, so it's not just the quantity of interaction in quantity of our relationships, but it's also the quality. So you could have one person in your life that is such a good quality relationship, and feel less lonely than somebody who is surrounded by people.
where my brain instantly went there, like anything in life, it's the quality over the quantity. Quality is so much more important than the amount that you're getting.
Yeah, and you were talking about people in SEO, if they're the only people in the team, and where I had to check up on myself when I said, "Oh, I've never felt lonely," and I like my own company. I grew up as I was 8 before my brother was born, and I think they say if your sibling arrives 7 years later, you're more or less an only child because you've got those formative years have been. on your own. I would read a lot. I enjoyed being on my own. So I don't remember being lonely in that sense. But I think running my own business, and what's great is that we also have this podcast. So I've got you to share the podcast with. But my coaching business, I am on my own. And I then crave for other coaches to talk to or other people running their own businesses so that I've got that shared experience.
And there's also, you can, this has happened to me a few times where even if you're not physically alone and you have people around you, you can still feel lonely if you feel like you're a little bit different to everyone else in that group, or what you're trying to do is a little bit different to everyone else, or they're talking about something that you don't really care about. So I think as well, another example is, you can be surrounded by people, you can surround yourself by that, but again, you can feel lonely in other ways as well.
Yeah. And what you just said there it's triggered a thought in my head. I'm a 58-year-old Muslim Asian woman. There aren't many in my community who are doing the sort of things that I'm doing. I'm not saying that there aren't any, but there aren't many. So, this what we've touched on is the loneliness that comes from freelancing or solo working or being the only person in your SEO team. But there's other reasons that we've become, where social self-care has become more of a problem. One of these, people are so much busier. There's less time for relationships.
I don't know whether this is going to make much sense, but have adults always been this busy?
No. I remember Sundays where the shops were shut and I would be bored. And I think part of there is a big problem that we never get time to be bored. Boredom creates creativity. There was a joy in being bored. There was a joy in not having the shops to go to on a Sunday. There was a joy in that slowness of Sundays.
And actually, everything is just so accessible now. No one even has chance to feel bored. Tazmin, I can't remember the last time I was bored.
Me neither. I do intentionally have days where I will do very little, especially on Sunday. Sunday's chill day. But I'll tell you a story. Years ago, so my mum was from Zanzibar. Years ago, when I was about 15, we went to Zanzibar on holiday. It was me and my little brother. He would have been about 8. And we went to a shop to buy some stationery. We went in, I chose my stuff, Imran chose his stuff. It would have been about 11 o'clock in the morning. We bought whatever we bought, and we bought quite a bit. And as we left the shop owner also left the shop and closed the doors. And my dad said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going home." And he said, "But it's only 11 o'clock." He said, "But I've earned enough for today. I'm going home. I'm done." And this is the lifestyle that we are all craving. But the reason why for some people it is hard to achieve is because suddenly we've got big mortgages and we want bigger houses and we want more stuff. So we have to work harder to earn more to buy the stuff.
And it's really hard to be like, I've earned enough. Because as soon as you've reached one sort of goal or target, you're then on to, okay, what's my next goal? What's my next amount of money? And you always live to your means. So even there's been times where, I don't know, like I've had a pay rise, or I've got more disposable income, or I've got more money as I've got older, and I don't know, I've progressed in my career, or like I'm not a broke student anymore. Do you know what I mean? But you just live to your means, and with that pay rise, you end up committing to other things that you're paying for. Maybe that is a better car, for example. Maybe that is a better plan with your mobile phone, for example. Maybe it's like your lifestyle. Maybe you'll go out for dinner more. You'll always live to your means. So it's really hard to be like, well, I've earned enough, because as soon as you hit one level or target or goal, you're like, wow, what's my next one? What's my next one? What next up can I achieve?
And that time for relationships is becoming smaller and smaller and less fluid. You have to set up date nights or be intentional about spending time together. Another reason is we are now used to, a lot of us, working from home. And working from home means that you don't have that, let's go here for lunch today with your colleagues, or conversations while you're making a cup of tea or whatever, that all of those conversations have disappeared.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Where things happen sort of like organically and things aren't planned as much. Like you go out for lunch because you end up chatting to a colleague and you both fancy trying out this new burrito place. I don't know why burrito came to mind. I'm not a massive burrito eater.
Me
But anyway.
neither. Me neither. And
Too
I remember
stodgy.
too much. I remember when I was working in SEO at Argos, and on Monday morning we'd come in early, do the reporting, and by 10 o'clock, we'd been there a good few hours. So a few of us would go and have breakfast. And it was just so nice. There's little walks to the shop, banter about this, banter about that. Another big reason, and I know that you are trying your hardest to plug a little bit of a hole in this one, but erosion of local communities. And I know you and Livebird Studios and all the work that Tash is doing is trying to create that community space. And I think this is why I don't feel as lonely, because I've got the mosque. And it's 5 minutes down the road, and it's a small community, so everyone feels like family.
There's such power in community, isn't there? And I know someone who, so very interestingly, they weren't brought up in a religious family, but later on in life, they got into religion. I don't know if that's the right way of saying that. And there's lots of reasons why that person got into that. But I remember when they were talking, what became really evident was one of the reasons why they were part, and one of the reasons they loved being part, was this strong sense of community. Everyone's there for each other. Everyone's got each other's back. If you're stuck, if you need support, if you need help with something, someone within the community is going to support you. And I remember thinking, crikey, and I completely understand that there is much more to religion and belief and faith, but part of that is community. And I can see, because I'm not a religious person myself and I am not part of a religious community, but there are other communities that I can be part of. But community is a really, really, it's important, isn't it? It's really, really strong.
And it's little wonder that there are so many online communities now, and WTS being the ideal example, where you can be with like-minded people. You've got someone to ask. You can even go on there and say, look, I'm having a really tough time with this, and somebody will respond, and either will lend some support or empathize, and you don't feel alone.
And an example, so of course we love Women in Tech community, Women in Tech SEO, fabulous place to be part of. And my example, so one of the reasons I set up West Midlands Podcasting Club was because I wanted to create a community of podcasters, independent podcasters, or people in podcasting, or people just interested in podcasting who were in the West Midlands area to get together. And one of my favourite times is, so we always meet up once a month online. We have done in-person ones as well. And that's one of my favourite times because everyone's on the same page. Everyone's interested in the same things. We have wonderful conversations, and it's one of my favorite times to be part of. And we always meet for 2 hours, and those 2 hours go so fast.
Wow.
and we always go over because people are loving to chat. People are loving the interaction. People are loving to connect with others that are similar to them.
So, we've gone through all sorts of reasons why people are feeling this sense of loneliness. There is a lack of social interaction and all of the reasons why. And it can lead to more than loneliness. It can lead to stress. It can lead to depression in some cases. And all of that then can lead to health issues. So this isn't a nice to have. This is a serious part of how you look after yourself to be the best version of yourself. And is as important as physical self-care and mental and emotional self-care.
Crucial. It is crucial. And look at that time, Tazmin.
Absolutely. We are absolutely ready for a break. So just want to highlight one thing. We said that people aren't as intentional about social self-care because there isn't the government saying, they'll say eat 5 a day so we know how much fruit to eat, or walk 10,000 steps so we know how much to walk. We don't have those sorts of guidelines for social interaction. But after the break, I want to talk to you about a TED talk that I listened to that gave us a framework that we can follow, and I'd like to share that with you.
Sounds absolutely fabulous. I want to know when Tazmin is going to be doing her TED Talk.
Oh, crikey. I did apply once. Maybe I'll apply again. Yeah. Actually, Milton Keynes is having a youth TED Talk in September that I'm very excited about going to.
Oh, that's very exciting. I do enjoy a TED Talk. But I have very much enjoyed this conversation. And I'm very intrigued and excited for the second part. So join us back, folks.
Hi, Tazmin here. Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Be more visible, earn more, but also take care of your well-being and have work-life harmony? Well, I can help you because I'm offering you a free 30-minute consultancy call. Together, we can go through where you want to be and how to get there. Simply click on the link in the show notes, fill in a form, and I'll get back to you.
Introducing Clear Narrative Media, a purpose-led media marketing agency that transforms how founders, creatives, and organizations share their stories online. Dedicated to assisting you with all your marketing, content, and strategy needs. Their services include photography, consultancy, and social media management. Clear Narrative Media is here to transport your visions to life. They are on a mission to help you to create awareness, build visibility, and enhance your business and professional growth overall. For more information, head over to their website at cnmedia.com or follow the link in the show notes. Sarah here, just quickly popping on to let you know about how you can support the podcast, how you can support me and Tazmin. So first things first, we are set up on Buy Me a Coffee, which means you can give us a one-off donation. Thank you to everyone who has done that already. If you fancy doing that, the link is in the show notes and we'd be very much appreciative. And another way is help us spread the word. Get more people to know about the podcast. Tell your colleagues, friends, loved ones, hey, even your pets. next time you're listening to an episode and you think someone would really love it, find the link and why not share it with them?
So, Sarah, did you enjoy your break?
I did enjoy my break. It was good to sort of think about what we'd spoken about in the first part. And yeah, it's got me thinking, got me evaluating, got me thinking of things that I can do.
I just wanted to say that anyone listening, if you're feeling that you want to reach out to someone, please do. Just ring the person, send them a text, connect with somebody. Don't sit with that loneliness. It's not nice.
Yes, definitely. Like the amount of times I have overthought connecting or reaching out to someone, and as soon as I have, like usually I get a response or that person's super lovely or excited for that connection back. Of course, people are busy, like we've already said, so not everyone does. But yeah, don't overthink it. If you want to connect with someone, if you want to reach out to someone, do it. Flipping well, do it.
Do it. Right, now on to this TED Talk. The TED Talk was by this person called, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Caslie Killam. And she is a leading expert in social health. And she also is an author. Now, this book name is very long, so bear with me. The book is called The Art and Science of Connection: Why Social Health is the Missing Key to Living Longer, Healthier, and Happier. It's a long title. You're sold, right?
It's a long title, but I'm sold by the title.
I'm pretty sure I've put a link in the show notes so everybody can go and buy the book. And I think I put a link to the TED Talk as well. Now, she is a Harvard-trained social scientist. She's been on TED Talks twice, and she champions social health. And she's got this method that she put out. It's called 5-3-1. So I'm going to take you through each one, and then after that, we can have a chat. So 5 is spend time with 5 different individuals each week, such as friends, family members, co-workers, neighbours, community members, anyone. So each week, interact with 5 different people. Take care of at least 3 close relationships by having deep connections with those individuals. So she talks, and this is a bit I like. She said, rather than having a to-do list, have a to-love list. And each week have 3 people on your to-love list.
Ah, I like that too.
Oh, it's cute, very cute.
It's very cute, very cute.
So that's 5 individuals a week, just you're having interaction, 3 people a week on your to-love list, and aim for 1 hour of good connection every day with people. And this can be split into different chunks throughout the day, but each day spend 1 hour with your connections.
So I love the 5-3-1, and it's really easy to remember. So just to make sure that I've got it into my brain, I'm going to repeat it back to you. Listeners, repeat back too. See if you've got it right. So have 5 connections a week.
Yeah. Spend time with 5 different individuals. Yeah. Anyone.
Yeah. Anyone. Then we're talking about your to love list. So pick 3 people to really spend enriching deep time and work on that connection, and have at least 1 hour of connection a day.
Which do you think would be the most challenging? If any.
For me?
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to ask is when we record podcast episodes, me and you, that's typically an hour. So does that count as the one?
Well, I think it would, because we have a lot of banter before, in
Yeah.
between the break, afterwards. We have a giggle. And so I would count it as one. But if I was spending an hour going through a spreadsheet with somebody, I wouldn't count that.
No,
Because,
that's very different. See, I think 531, it doesn't seem too much or too overwhelming, because having 5 interactions a week, that's very easily done if we're talking about like neighbours as well. Or what I'm thinking about is when I take Benny the dog out for a walk, that is a great way of just chatting to randomers, chatting to neighbours, or chatting to people as you're walking and stuff. So yeah, I suppose the one that might be tricky is the hour a day.
now, somebody, when she was giving the TED talk, she said, now, for all of those people who are saying that that's going to be challenging, and she did pick on that one, she said the average American spends 4.5 hours a day scrolling on their phone.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
I'm trying to think, what would I, because as you know, and most people know, at home it's Hasnain and myself. So in terms of an hour of good connection each day, easily done with just that one individual. And he will always be on my to love list each week. He'll be the regular.
You hearing this, Hussein?
Yeah. Oh, he better be listening to our podcast. But I think that I think actually for me it's the other part. It's the quantity of people in my life. So the quality of the relationship with me and him is wonderful. And then when I go to the mosque, the community element. But if it's a week where I've not gone, I mean, I've been at the mosque a lot lately because, as Sarah will know, we had a couple of bereavements at the mosque, so
Mm,
I was there a lot. But there'll be weeks when there's little interaction. I know you and I chat every week, but that's, a lot of it's work. So I think it's the variety, it's the quantity of people. Right now, when all the kids are back for the summer and there's all sorts of going on, um, all of these are going to be ticked off really easy. It's when they're not
mm,
around and they're
mm,
busy.
mm. Well, I think, and I suppose that is tricky for me, is of course I have friends and family and people in my life that isn't connected to work, that isn't connected to SEO, that's not connected to podcasts. So I can have conversations that aren't about that. But I suppose what's tricky is blurred lines, I suppose, between what, like, because a lot of people that I work with, they're also my friends, or do you know what I mean? Or people that
Yeah.
I meet through SEO, they're my friends, or people that I meet through podcasting are friends. Like me and you were really good friends and we met through starting a podcast sort of thing. So yeah, I suppose the tricky part is because you can't always be talking about work. You can't always be talking about SEO projects, campaigns and stuff. So I suppose it's having the discipline. And what's tricky with me and Tash is we are both freelance. We both run our own businesses and we also run a business together. So there is blurred lines there as well, because there's times where, I don't know, because we're quite work driven, and we've got our own goals, and there's things that we want to set up, and we're very similar in that sense. A lot, like sometimes conversations can be a lot about work, I suppose, or projects or the shop or whatever. So I suppose it's having that, not willpower, but then I suppose, is it bad to talk about stuff that you love? Because I don't know.
Well, I think, thinking about that, if the thing that we're trying to solve or not solve, address is I'm feeling lonely, I'm feeling that I am not connected with somebody, then who is I? Is it me, the podcaster, me, the freelancer, the businesswoman, the coach? Because at some point I'd want to take all of those hats off and just be me.
Mm. Mm.
Because when I said I feel lonely, I talk to lots of people, but it's just being able to just, let go of, not talk about what I need to do or what I've achieved. Just have some banter or a discussion with somebody, or
And
do you know what I mean?
having, yes, because you have to have the space and safety to feel like you can be yourself.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because some people might be like, oh, Sarah, I can't, I'm a bit nervous to just be myself. Because what if, I don't know, what if people don't like that? Or what if people, people are like not drawn to me and stuff? And I suppose the main thing here is the more that you can, and we bang on about self-awareness, right? But the more that you can be comfortable with being who you are and be open about what you care about, your passions, your hobbies. Yes, whilst it might not attract some people, it will attract that niche. It will attract your community. It will attract people that are aligned, if that makes sense.
It does, but I would say that if you if you can't be yourself and you're being somebody just so that you will fit in, then actually that's an awful type of loneliness. And I think in that
Mm.
sense, that's why I don't feel as, I feel lonely at times, but most of the time I don't, because I've got to an age where you just think, oh, I can't be bothered being someone else. It's so much easier being just me. And it's more energizing. So, an example is when you and Crystal came over for the strategy day, and it was an intense day. Yes, we laughed, but we got a lot done that day. But when we had lunch, there was no talk of shop, and it wasn't intentional. Oh, we're not going to talk shop right now. It was banter about you not liking mangoes, and Crystal having a giggle, and me playing. Don't know why I felt like I had to play mum that day. Maybe that's the age thing as well, making sure all your teacups, or maybe it was just hostessing. But we chilled and we giggled and we were just us, and that meant we were energized to carry on after
Yes,
lunch.
and I love how you talk about energize, because it is so telling for me if I have spent time with people that I feel most comfortable with, people that I can be Sarah, people who I can have conversations that I want to have conversations, or conversations that I find interesting, because time just goes. So in that moment where you're spending the time with that person or that group of people, 3 hours is easily gone in what seems like half an hour, but I feel, I don't know, energized, or I feel really good coming out of that. But
Yeah.
what's also really telling is times where it's the opposite, where I've spent time with people or a person where it's not been as easy. And that's because, I don't know, we're not aligned, or we don't think similar, or there's just, when you spend time with people that are like you, or who really love Sarah as who I am, it just feels so good, and you just want to be in that moment, and rather than clock watching being like, oh my God, has it only been 10 minutes? You're like, crikey, we've been here 6 hours. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And actually, based on what you've just said, if I now look at the 5-3-1, they're all serving a different purpose. So there are 5 individuals a week, friends, family. That's more of your light-hearted conversation. But the 3, taking care of 3 close relationships, that's where you're getting your energy. That's where the depth is coming from. And the 1 hour a day is just it's almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's that light touch throughout the day that you've spoken to somebody. And it could be a bit like you and I are doing right now, because although the topic we're talking about is quite deep, you're not telling me your problems, I'm not telling you mine. We're not having that sort of conversation. So I quite like this method. And I think if somebody is struggling with, well, what does good social self-care look like? Try this. Have a go. See what works. See what doesn't work. And then, like with any framework, start off with it, but then tailor it to what works for you.
Wonderful. I very much enjoyed this conversation. Well, I
find chatting. We always love chatting.
Well, yes, whenever we record for the podcast, the time just goes really quickly. And I love how we always say, we'll keep it within half an hour, and then 45 minutes have gone. And again, I imagine that Tash will pick up on my energy after spending time with you, and Tash will be like, Sarah's positive. Sarah's come with all her positive energy and her jazzy trousers. But yeah. So
but we've been quite disciplined about this. We have been quite disciplined. It's we've not got to 45 minutes, but I feel it's a good time to wrap it up. Would you agree, or have you got any other thoughts you want to add?
My thought is I appreciate you, Tazmin, and actually thinking about having people in your life that you can be unapologetically yourself, and you really appreciate and value having that person in their life. That's you, Tazmin, for me.
Oh, likewise. You gave me a voice, Sarah, through this podcast. Thank you.
Well, that's a lovely way of thinking about it. You gave yourself a voice.
But yeah, I didn't know anything about podcasting, and you could have said, I want to work with that person who doesn't even know anything. Our first recordings were, quite ropey.
So you say that, but I don't think they were. Not at all.
Bless you. But yeah, so yes, we to everyone listening, we're going to stop gushing now, and I'm definitely going to wrap it up now. So if you have enjoyed this podcast, if you are enjoying what Sarah and I are doing, then there's various ways that you can support us. And one of them is buy me a coffee. Now, as we said in previous episodes, Sarah and I do not go and binge on coffee every time somebody clicks the link. All of that money goes to maintaining the tech, to keeping the podcast going. Because yes, Sarah and I love doing it, but it does cost money, and all of that. Any donations that you can give are deeply appreciated.
They are deeply appreciated, and I just want to come clean that in the past we have used it to not come clean, but you know what I mean, come clean that we have used it to treat ourselves for our hard work. So we have had some tasty treats, but no, the money now is more needed to cover the costs, like Tazmin has said.
Yeah, we had a very nice lunch once. Remember?
It was very lovely. What? In Brighton.
It was at Brighton,
All I remember was there was friends in the in the name somewhere. Food with friends, something
like that.
But anyway,
the giggle was afterwards.
Yeah.
We put in the pizza order for the live, and the woman was looking at us like, "You're sitting in a restaurant ordering enough pizza for 100 people. Are you mad?" We had to tell her what we were doing. Anyway, another way you can support us is follow us on social. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Instagram. And come and chat with us. Be lovely to hear from you.
And something to put on your radar, depending on when this episode has gone out. But we are planning the next live in October. Conversations they've been happening for a while with Jack. So yes, we will be hopefully soon setting that all up and inviting you to grab your tickets if you go into Brighton SEO, or if you live in Brighton. You don't have to go to Brighton SEO to come to the event as well. But yeah, just something on your radar that in October around Brighton SEO, the live podcast is back.
And that can be one of your interactions for your social self-care.
I love it. Again, seamless, smooth segue. Podcast Pro right here, folks. Tazmin Suleman. Thank you very much.
So it is time to say goodbye. Thank you so much for listening. It's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me. Looking to create awareness, build visibility, and enhance growth for your business, organisation, or yourself? Introducing Clear Narrative Media, a purpose-led media and marketing agency that transforms how founders, creatives, and organisations share their stories online. Dedicated to assisting you with all your marketing, content, and strategy needs. You can find them on all social media platforms and online at cnmediaa.com, or follow the link in the show notes.